Every month, Game Pass keeps dropping some absolute bangers onto the service, but with over 400 games now in the library, I know it can be hard to figure out what to play next. That is why today I'm going to help you out, and we're diving into the 20 best Xbox Game Pass games you need to play this October. Whether you're into action, strategy, horror, or just something a little out of the ordinary, I've definitely got you covered. My name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation. Subscribe for more Xbox content every single day, and let's dive right in. Kicking things off, we've got ARA History Untold. Now, I'm personally a sucker for grand strategy games, and if you're into world building, resource management, and making historical decisions, this game will be right up your alley. It does play very similarly to Civilization, but it feels way more personal and dynamic. You're essentially guiding your people from the dawn of civilization all the way to the future. One thing that I really loved about this game is how your decisions impact not just your empire, but the entire world around you. You could lead a peaceful scientific revolution or get into all-out war, but it's entirely up to you. Plus, the attention to detail here is just top-notch. Every choice feels like it matters, and there's so much depth to the way the world evolves around you. This is one game that I heavily recommend that you pick up, especially if you have PC Game Pass. Next up is a game that recently dropped onto Xbox Game Pass, and that is Trials of Mana. If you've got a soft spot for old school JRPG, this one is going to hit that special spot for you. It's a full remake of the classic, and it's done incredibly well. I've always been a fan of games that give you different characters and stories to experience based on your party choices, and Trials of Mana nails that completely. Every single character brings their own unique story arcs, and it really encourages you to replay the game to see all their different outcomes. The real-time combat is very smooth, and I was honestly impressed by how much they upgraded it for modern consoles. It's got a great mix of nostalgia with a fresh coat of paint, making it a must-play for any RPG fan. Expeditions, a mud runner game, is perfect if you love a good challenge and enjoy simulation games. This one's all about getting through some of the toughest, muddiest terrain you've ever seen, whilst managing resources and completing tasks. What's cool is that the game isn't just a casual drive through mud, as you have to think about every single move, every piece of equipment you use, and every single path that you take. There's something so satisfying about conquering nature's worst conditions, especially when you've been stuck in a ditch for 20 minutes just trying to figure out how to pull your truck out. It's slow paced, but that just adds to the satisfaction, especially when you finally overcome an obstacle. Trust me, bring a friend into co-op mode and you'll really enjoy some real teamwork. Alright, let's speed things up with Riders Republic, and this game got added to Game Pass within the past month. This game is a pure adrenaline rush from start to finish. Whether you're wanting to snowboard, bike, or wingsuit down some insane slopes, you're constantly on the move. One of the coolest things though about Riders Republic is the sheer scale of the open world. It's like a gigantic extreme sports playground where you can ride, jump, and trick your way through mountains, canyons, and forests. Plus, the multiplayer aspect is wild. Imagine competing in a mass race with over 50 other players, all zooming downhill at just one time. It honestly is chaotic, it's fast, and honestly, it's just a ton of fun. I also love how this game doesn't take itself too seriously, so it's all about enjoying the ride and pushing you to the limits. Let's switch gears to something more high-tech with Watch Dogs 2. If you were on the fence about the first Watch Dogs, then trust me, the sequel is where the series finally finds its stride. Set in the vibrant version of San Francisco, you will play as Marcus Holloway, a young hacker who's out to try and take down some corrupt organizations. The hacking mechanics are just next level in this game, as you can hack just about anything from cars to security cameras to individual people's phones. What I really love though about Watch Dogs 2 is that you have so much freedom in how you approach every single mission. You can either go guns blazing, or you can use stealthy used drones and gadgets to bypass enemies without ever getting spotted. It really is a sandbox of creativity, and the city itself feels alive and packed with detail. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord is for all of my strategy and action fans out there. This game is a unique mix of grand strategy and medieval combat. You'll essentially start out as a nobody, slowly building your army and reputation until you're commanding entire armies in massive real-time battles. The combat is very hands-on, you're down in the trenches, swinging swords, firing arrows, or just charging on horseback. But this game isn't just about fighting. You've got to manage diplomacy, trade, and alliances to grow your entire empire. Honestly, the freedom in this game is what really kept me hooked, as you can spend multiple hours just strategizing your next move or getting into the nitty-gritty of medieval warfare. If you love games where you can carve out your own path, then this one is a must play. Now, Deep Rock Galactic is a game that I didn't expect expect to love as much as I do. You and up to 3 friends can play as a badass space dwarves on a mining mission in these procedurally generated caves, and honestly, let me tell you, the co-op in this game is one of the best I've ever experienced on Xbox to date. Every single dwarf has a unique role, and you really need to work together to survive. The caves are dark, full of alien creatures, and everything is destructible, which really makes for some intense moments when your squad is swarmed by enemies. What I really enjoy though about Deep Rock Galactic is how every single mission just feels really different. The random layouts and objectives keep things very fresh, and it's the kind of game where you never really know what's going to happen next. This is one game that I highly recommend that you check out right now, and to all of my Rock and Stone brothers out there, I will see you on the battlefield. Dishonored 2 is an absolute masterpiece if you love stealth games. The first game was just fantastic, but Dishonored 2 really took the series to a whole new level. You will play as either Corvo or Emily, and both have their own set of supernatural powers that let you tackle missions however you want. You can go full on stealth, knocking out enemies and never being seen, or you can embrace the chaos and use your powers to cause absolute mayhem. I personally love how the game's design lets you experiment, as every single mission is basically a puzzle, and there's just so many ways to approach it. Whether through creative use of your powers or sneaking through hidden paths, there's just so many aspects to every single level. And if you're wondering about the world building, it's dark, eerie, and totally immersive. Now, here's a game that totally took me by surprise, and that's Tunic. Don't be fooled by its cute, colourful art style. This is one of the most challenging and rewarding action-adventure games that I've played in quite some time. You play as a little fox exploring a mysterious world, and the game is just all about discovery. Tunic doesn't tell you where to go or what to do, which gives it this old school Zelda-like vibe. The puzzles are very tricky, and the combat has just enough depth to keep you on your toes, especially when you're up against some tougher enemies or incredible bosses. What really sets this game apart though is the way the game's secrets really unfold. You'll find in-game instruction manuals that slowly teach you new mechanics, making every single discovery feel earned. It's a game that respects your intelligence and curiosity, and is one hidden gem on Xbox Game Pass. Now, if you're looking for something completely different, you've got to check out Hi-Fi Rush. This game is all about rhythm-based combat, which sounds strange at first, but trust me, it works incredibly well. Every single hit, dodge, and move syncs perfectly with the soundtrack, which is full of high-energy rock and electronic tracks. It's not just about mashing buttons, as you really need to feel the beat to get the most out of combat, and when you really get into that flow, it's one of the most satisfying games you'll ever play. The art style in this game is vibrant and comic book inspired, which really makes the whole experience just feel even more unique. I wasn't expecting to love this game as much as I did, but once you dive in, it's incredibly hard to put down. Before we dive into the remaining 10 games, do consider subscribing for more Xbox content every single day. We are also running a promotion on my website in partnership with Xbox, and you can get pre-orders, gift cards, Game Pass subscriptions, and more for a discounted price. All you have to use is my code XboxNation at checkout, and you get 5% off any order. This can be used for games like the upcoming Indiana Jones and Dragon Age, and it really helps support the channel. Thank you again for your continued support, and let's dive back into the remaining games. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a game that blends perfect action, exploration, and puzzle solving. This is the third game in the rebooted series, and it's the most polished of the entire bunch. Lara Croft is on essentially a darker, more personal journey this time round, and the game's story really digs into her character development. But really though, where Shadow really shines is its world design. You'll be exploring ancient tombs, solving loads of intricate puzzles, and fighting off mercenaries, all while surviving the dangers of the jungle. The visuals in this game are just absolutely stunning and on a totally another level, and seriously, the environments in this game are just breathtaking. If you're a fan of action-adventure games, this is a must-play. Amnesia the Bunker is the perfect game to play if you're looking to get spooked this October. Set in a claustrophobic World War I bunker, this game takes survival horror to a whole new level. The bunker is a dark, eerie, and filled with something lurking in the shadows. What's really great though about this game is just a sense of vulnerability. You don't have a ton of resources, and you're constantly trying to keep the lights on to keep whatever's hunting you at bay. It's got that classic Amnesia atmosphere that we know and love, which is creepy, slow burn horror, where every single creak and noise makes your heart race. If you're into atmospheric horror games that focus on tension and some dread, The Bunker is a no-brainer for this October. Now, if action RPGs are more your thing, then Atlas Fallen is a game that you can't miss. This game throws you into massive open world desert where you'll be battling colossal sand creatures and uncovering some ancient secrets. What I really love though about Atlas Fallen from my playtime is just how fluid the combat feels. You've got this insane mobility by dashing, sliding and soaring through the air whilst chaining together some incredible combos and abilities. It's very fast paced, flashy and just incredibly satisfying and reminds me of games like Devil May Cry. The world is just packed with tons of lore and things to explore, and the game's visual style really makes it stand out from the rest in the genre. It's got that perfect blend of exploration and combat, making it one of those RPGs that's very hard to put down once you're in this deep world. It recently had a large update which redid a lot of the voice lines and overhauled the combat in many aspects, so it's well worth diving into, especially if you've played it before. Even years after its release, Battlefield 1 still stands out as one of the best large-scale shooters ever to be released. Set during World War I, this game does an incredible job of capturing the chaos and the brutality of war. From its epic multiplayer battles to its emotional single-player campaign, there's just so much to do. Multiplayer though is where this game really shines through. You're part of massive battles where planes, tanks and all infantry come together in a beautifully destructive harmony. The operations mode, which strings multiple battles together for one long war effort, is one of the coolest multiplayer features I've ever experienced. Don't sleep on the campaign. Every single story is incredibly short but deeply impactful and really shows that human side of this conflict. If you haven't played it yet, now's the perfect time to jump into this experience. Now, one game that goes really under the radar is Dirt 5, and it's all about fast off-road racing that's just pure fun. This game doesn't take itself too seriously, it's really bright, colourful and full of over-the-top racing action. Whether you're drifting through icy mountain passes or kicking up some dirt in a desert rally, Dirt 5 always feels incredibly exhilarating. What I really appreciate though about this game is just how accessible it is. The driving mechanics strike a perfect balance between arcade and simulation, so you can pick it up and have fun immediately. But there's also a ton of depth for racing fans who want to master every single track. The career mode is just a blast with tons of content, letting you work your way through various events and customize your cars to your heart's content. Also, if you're more into the multiplayer aspect, there's a lot of fun to be had events racing against friends online or against opponents from other consoles. If you love space combat and exploration, then Everspace 2 is a game that you absolutely need to check out. This open world space shooter combines fast-paced dogfights with deep exploration, looting and upgrading mechanics. The combat is super intense and the variety of ships and weapons you can unlock adds a ton to the replayability. You'll be zooming through asteroid fields, taking on pirate factions and scavenging wrecks for valuable loot. What really surprised me though about Everspace 2 is just how engaging the story is. It's got this great mix of humor and drama, and the game's visuals are just awe-dropping. From beautiful nebulae to eerie silence of space, every single area feels distinct and worth exploring. If you're a fan of space games or you enjoyed the original Everspace, then this one will hook you in. Right, this next one's for anyone looking for something a little more unusual. Maneater is an open world action RPG where you play as a shark. Yes, you heard that right. You start as a baby shark and work your way up to becoming a massive, unstoppable predator. The gameplay is all about causing chaos in the water, eating everything from small fish to big old humans, destroying boats and taking on rival predators. It's ridiculous in every way, but in the best way possible. There's also a surprisingly deep progression system as you evolve your shark with new abilities, making you even more deadly. The game doesn't take itself too seriously though, which is honestly part of its charm, and the narrator provides some hilarious commentary as you wreak havoc to the environment. If you're in the mood for something different with a bit more of a light-hearted feel, then definitely give Maneater a try. For all of the hardcore action fans out there, the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is the ultimate test of your skill. These games are known for their brutal difficulty, but if you love fast, fluid combat, then there's just nothing quite like it. You will play as Ryu, a master ninja who can pull off some insane combos, flips, and finishes with incredible precision. The collection includes 3 games, and each one of them is packed with tons of intense and over-the-top action. The combat system here is incredibly deep, as you'll need quick reflexes and even quicker thinking to get through the tougher enemies and bosses. Honestly though, once you get into the groove of things, pulling off perfect dodges and devastating combos feels incredibly rewarding. If you're up for a challenge, the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is just a must-have on Xbox Game Pass. Now, for something a little bit more tactical, we have Sniper Elite 5. If you love the idea of taking down enemies from a distance with some precision and planning, then this game is the one for you. Set in World War II, you will play as a sniper behind enemy lines, and the focus here really is on stealth and long-range kills. The series has always had a fantastic bullet physics system, and the X-ray kill cam never gets old. Seeing the bullet travel in slow motion and taking an enemy down from far with brutal accuracy is always just incredibly satisfying. But this game isn't just about sniping. There's plenty of room for stealth, sabotage, and close quarters combat as well. The open-ended mission design also lets you approach every single objective however you want, making each mission feel like a puzzle in its own right. It's a slower paced game, but the payoff is well worth it. And finally, we've got Ghost Recon Wildlands. This game is an open world tactical shooter set in a sprawling version of Bolivia, and honestly, is one of the best co-op experiences out there and on Xbox Game Pass. You and your squad are tasked with taking down a massive drug cartel, and you can approach every single mission however you want. If that's going in loud with guns blazing, or just taking a more tactical and stealthy approach. The world here is absolutely massive and packed with tons of things to do, from tons of side missions to random events that can pop up as you explore. The co-op aspect is really where this game shines though, and coordinating with friends to pull off some perfect ambush or extraction is just some of the most satisfying gameplay I've ever experienced in any shooter. If you're into tactical shooters with a ton of freedom, Wildlands is a must-play. So there you have it, that was 20 fantastic games to check out on Game Pass this October. From intense action to strategic planning, horror to extreme sports, there really is something for everyone. Let me know in the comments below which games you're most excited to play, or if I've missed any hidden gems that should have made this list. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Xbox content every single day. Whilst here, why don't you check out our most recent video covering the 12 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games coming out this coming week.